Yo, yo, yo. I don't know what I'm doing, but yo!
Oh my gosh!
What's up, YouTube? This your boy Certified Big Fella, and hey, we back with another reaction. I might turn it into a reaction channel. I have been wanting to play games take longer than edit. These I just clip. Done. That's it. But today we're gonna horror. We finna react to 18 horror stories animated. Compilation of October 2020. I probably gonna react to about 3 of these. 3. Let's get into this video. Hope y'all doing well. Like the video if you come across it. If you come across it, subscribe please. Hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. And share. Sharing do a big part helping me get out there. But let's get into this video.
First, so I'm here to post about a dream that I've been having as of lately. I've been having the same dream, and the story is very simple. I am on my laptop at my desk, and my older sister is writing in her diary in her bed, and an extremely tall guy keeps trying to enter our room. He was literally so big that his—
Hold on. Like the way she's telling this story is so off. Like y'all sitting there just chilling, chilling, and you say, "Oh well, this big tall guy was just at our door, and I don't know. I just continued writing in my journal." Come on, man.
His chest touched the threshold, and I couldn't see his upper shoulder at all.
Look,
My sister and I
she's just sitting there twirling her feet. Just twirling her feet.
knew that he wouldn't be able to come in anyway, so we didn't care about anything and did our own things. He bumped his body trying to come in, then finally gave up a while later and went back.
Hold on.
We didn't care about anything and did our own things. He bumped his body trying to come in, then finally gave up a while later and went back.
So you telling me you see this big dude sitting here trying to get in, and y'all just gonna sit here and Hey Krista, pass me that chocolate chip cookie, kid you. Telling you. My bad.
And at that moment, I woke up. But recently, he keeps cutting his body little by little. By the 3rd day, he hadn't been able to come in, but the day before yesterday, he was in front of the door, standing with his ankles. He cut off his foot.
What?
Of course, he couldn't come in either, and just yesterday, he cut off half of his calves. His shoulder was seen for the first time, but he has also kept bumping against the door. And this time was no different. What happens to me next if he cuts himself all the way to his knees?
Hey you!
This man here is serious.
Me? Yeah, you! Don't you wanna—
Second, it's me again, and I came back to post my recent experience. 2 days later, my worries became a reality. I had a dream again that day.
When do they leave the room?
And this time, he
Do they ever
really cut
leave?
himself to his knees. I'm not going to explain all the details, but all I could see was his abnormally big mouth, and he was smiling brightly. Then I woke up. I was too scared to go back to sleep after just seeing his face. After that, I gave up on sleeping for a couple of days. I drank all night with my friends. Went to a handicraft workshop run by my mom. I was playing on my cell phone for a while and napped for a while, lying down on my mom's lap when I felt too tired. Then I fell asleep, shallowly, on the sofa, and the man was there in my dream as usual. Fortunately, I was able to wake up right away because I didn't sleep deeply. However, being scared, I called my aunt, who was interested in spiritual existence at that time. When I confessed that I was having a hard time because of this, she told me that she knew a shaman and asked me to go there with her. No one believed such a thing because my family were all sincere Christians. My aunt was also a Christian, but she took me to the shaman saying that the method would be much better than just praying. Well, well, I guess these poor little lambs must have been desperate. That day, when I went to see the shaman, she said this to us just as I went inside. When my aunt asked what I should do next, the shaman said, "I'll give you an amulet. Put it on your door." Because we don't know if he was just joking around or doing it for a reason, we have to give it a few more days. Then she continued, "After I came back home with the amulet, I put it on my door without my parents knowing. I fell asleep in my room comfortably for the first time, and there was the man in my dream as I expected. But this time he wasn't standing, just sitting by the door and staring at me. I was inwardly admiring the effect of the amulets when I saw him like that. Just then, he began to imitate my dad's voice. "Lord, please take care of my family and look after my lovely daughters as if they were your eyes." He said a prayer like that almost every day, and while laughing, the man just recited the exact same prayer with my dad. Tears flooded with fear, and whether he thought that it was funny to see me crying, he began to mimic the barking of my dog this time. It was just surprisingly the same. He would scratch the door and whine when I closed my door to study, and the man made the same sound, scratching his fingernails on the door. The next was the voice of my friends. The moment I heard his voice, I was so scared and creeped out. Eventually, I could wake up shortly afterwards while I was crying in my dream. I called my aunt right away, and we went back to the shaman again. And I think we have to raise our prayer to God and do some exorcism sooner or later. I have been awake since that day. Of course, I've been eating my meals normally, but I kept losing weight because of a lack of sleep. I was going crazy. I'm still terrified, even when posting this right now. If anyone has experienced the same thing as me, please help.
Hi, it's me again, Eliana from Best Buy. It's Cyber Week, and I've got some more great deals for you. Don't I always? I've got your back. I promise. Check these out.
Me out.
My name is Mark, and this happened when I was 13 years old. It was a normal day in the morning, as usual. I was heading to school with some of my friends. We were just talking about several topics, such as school life or about the girls, you know. Then all of a sudden, I heard someone whispering. "Guys, did you hear that?" I asked, and one of my friends said, "Yeah, what the heck?"
The boy been smoking.
When I looked around, I realized that the voices were coming from the bushes, which were kind of far away from where we were standing. I ended up thinking that it might be some students who were trying to play pranks on somebody else. So we ignored them and walked toward the school. What a peaceful and boring day, I thought. Everything was going so normal until that incident. When we were in class, I suddenly heard another whisper under the window. I know that it was just a coincidence, but I started to get a weird feeling, thinking about the whispering from the bushes that I'd heard in the morning. However, I ignored it again, hoping it would be nothing. A few hours later, one of my friends got a stomach problem, so he had to go to the bathroom real badly. He got permission from the teacher and rushed to the bathroom in a hurry. However, he didn't come back for a long time, which was kind of weird. "Maybe he fell into the toilet," another friend next to me chuckled. About 5 minutes later, the teacher told me to go check to see what was wrong with him. I went to the bathroom alone, and when I was about to go in, I quickly smelled a terrible stench. Smells like blood. It was apparent that something was wrong. But then, I was being careless to find out what it was.
I would turn around.
I took one step inside and asked, "Dude, is everything okay?" But there was no answer in the restroom. I slowly started to open each of the stall doors, and then
not by myself.
I found him all bloody in the last stall. And I realized that he didn't have one foot. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
But from the last story.
I was about to throw up. And he was unconscious. His face looked pale. So I ran to the teacher and explained the situation. He ran to the office counselor, and they immediately called the police and an ambulance. After they had arrived, they took my friend to the hospital, and everybody had to stay inside. We all had feelings of anxiety. The cops searched the restroom, and they finally determined the perpetrator to be a serial killer who was wanted at the time.
The ankle breaker.
Then something came across my mind. I ran to the police and explained to them about whispers that I had heard in the woods and under the window. The police immediately went into the woods, searched the whole area extensively, and found a hut. To our surprise, they found another 4 corpses inside.
That man was
After that, they still couldn't find the murderer. And this incident has left everybody in our town shivering in fear.
You know.
And my friend eventually lost his ankle, but his life was saved though. I'm just glad that he was saved. And think about what would have happened to him if I hadn't gone to the bathroom to check on him.
Third story, last story too.
I grew up in Bradford, Pennsylvania. Have any of you ever heard of Zippo lighters? They're from here. A thick forest surrounds the town, along with most of the neighborhoods. My family lives sort of on the outskirts of Bradford. Of course, much like the town itself, our house was also surrounded by forest. If you took in the scene from our back porch, you would see nothing but sprawling trees for miles. I tell you this so you can gain a sense of isolation. Out at my house, you could scream at the top of your lungs, and no one would come to help you. This happened back in the summer of 1996. I was 11 years old at the time. I had a childhood friend named Marty, who was the same age. Our fathers worked together and knew each other well. He would come over almost every Friday to hang out.
Why they walking like that?
Marty and I found ourselves hiking through the trees as we often did. However, we were feeling a bit daring and went further into the forest than we usually did. There was...
And always happen. You have a normal route, you stick on that route. If it's some naked lady over here, swinging whatever she got around, you stick on that route. If you see a man with $1 million just throwing it, stick on your route. Yeah. Don't leave. Don't be daring. I'm like, let's try this way. I heard it's a shortcut. Nope. You stick on the route, you know.
This barrier of trees that we would never go past, simply because I didn't know the area beyond that point. We continued past the barrier into uncharted territory.
Loud ass car.
We eventually came upon a clearing. In the middle of this clearing was an old, disheveled-looking tent. Being the curious young men we were, we of course had to see inside. As we approached, I could feel the temperature around me drop. I'm no stranger to the cold, but this was in the middle of summer. Even at my age, I could sense that there was something truly sinister inside this tent. A part of me was screaming to hightail it out of there, but my own curiosity pushed me forward. We both stopped just outside the tent, and suddenly, we were both too frightened to move any further. We were both frozen in place, staring at the open flap of the tent as it swayed from side to side. The sky seemed to grow even darker since we discovered this tent, and though we were standing directly in front of it, we could not see inside.
I wouldn't want to.
What happened next is the reason that I still struggle with alcoholism. A dark hand slowly emerged from the tent's opening. It reached out to us, with long black nails protruding out from its fingertips. I'm not ashamed to admit that I pissed myself out of fear. The hand slowly turned and made a beckoning gesture with its index finger. And that's when Marty and I heard a deep, bellowing laughter from inside the tent. I don't remember much about what happened after that. I just remember me and Marty running for our lives, tearing through the woods and back to my house.
He gonna find you.
I do have a vague memory of me briefly looking behind me as I ran to see a tall, dark, and human figure standing just outside the tent. Upon returning, Marty immediately called his mom to come pick him up. My mother asked us what was wrong, and we both explained to her that we saw some kind of creature in the forest. My mother ultimately dismissed our claims, but led us in a prayer while we waited for Marty's mom to arrive.
I don't care what you say.
Marty never came back after that, and we sort of drifted apart. Sadly, Marty began hanging out with the wrong crowd and began doing hardcore drugs when he was around 14.
That's a big
He ended up
ass
hanging
needle.
himself in his bedroom when he was
What the drugs
17.
is Marty doing?
As for myself, I suffered from severe night terrors that tormented me for years after that day in the woods. I'm not going to get into what I experienced in my nightmares, but I will say that I became an alcoholic as a result. After moving far away and attending numerous AA meetings, I'm glad to say that I've turned my life around, and I even have a family of my own. I still visit Bradford every now and again to check in on my aging parents. Whenever I'm there, I always set flowers on Marty's grave. I'm still convinced that what we saw that day in the woods contributed to his death. Now that I have some perspective, I think what Marty and I encountered was a demonic presence. It followed us home and proceeded to turn both of our lives upside down. There were rumors of people worshiping Satan out there in those woods around the mid to late 90s. Perhaps they awakened something, and Marty and I just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Being nosy.
300 for that and 2,000 for this.
Being
Way
nosy.
too expensive. But
That's
today I'm
all
going to
it
show
is.
you guys how to get all this stuff for a lot cheaper.
How the old folks say? I think that's it. Old folks say, curiosity killed the cat. You be nosy. You gonna be, curiosity gonna get you. Now I can say, I don't even know how to end this video. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit that like button. If you come across this video, hit that like button and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload, and share my video, help me grow. But until next time, I don't know what I'm gonna do next time. I might drop a video game, but until then, peace.